know your name, I swear I do. It's on the tip of my tongue. Sorry, what did you say? I've known you for how long? Your face is so familiar, but no name comes to mind. Please, can you remind me if you'll be so kind? Staring out into space, asking God to hear my case. Trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last?
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. I'm your host and founder of the show, Lori La Bey. And just to give you a little background before we get into our guests today, which I'm really excited, we're going to be talking about technology and how we care for people and how that can help out. But bottom line, Alzheimer's Speaks got started because of my journey with my mother who had dementia for 30 years. And I just thought it was critical that we share information and learn where resources are. And I found that this radio platform has just really been a good route to go ahead and do that. We are also an advocacy-based company. We provide multiple platforms. So we don't just have the radio show. We have the blog. We do video interviews with people that I believe are the true experts, those who are diagnosed, called dementia chats. Keynotes and training, consulting, all kinds of different things. So feel free to check us out at alzheimersspeaks.com, and we would love to help you shift your care culture from crisis to comfort. I also want to thank our audience because our audience has been so loyal and committed to us and helping us share content, which is just critical. So every time you share and any of our platforms, you're pushing it out to your sphere, they push it out to their sphere, and it just grows naturally. And it takes very little time, and it doesn't cost any of us any money to do that. But I know it's helping a lot of people because we have been recognized by Dr. Oz and ShareCare as the #1 influencer online for Alzheimer's, by Maria Shriver as an architect of change for humanity, and then just this year by Oprah as a health hero. And that is not none of those are accolades that I take personally. Those are to our whole community because I really believe we're working as a tribe together to better the world. I also want to let you know that you could be our next guest, so reach out to me. Just go to alzheimersspeaks.com. Up in the top right-hand corner, there's a big contact button, and let's have a conversation, and maybe you too can be a guest on here. We interview everybody and the people from all around the world. You also have an opportunity to join the conversation today by calling in, and that number is 323-870-4602. That's, it's 323-870-4602 is the phone number. So feel free to call in about that. I'm going to give a shout out just to a couple of organizations that I just truly adore. One is Maria Shriver with her Women's Alzheimer's Movement. She's going to be doing Move for the Minds, which are some great events that will be going on around the country. She will personally be at 4 of them. And you can find out more information about those at the Women's Alzheimer's Movement.org, the Women's Alzheimer's Movement.org. Also, if you're looking for some great reads, the American Senior Magazine is a wonderful lifestyle magazine for seniors with topics ranging from nostalgia and health and wellness. And they interview and spotlight notable older Americans. And you can also get a discount on that subscription. Again, just go to alzheimersspeaks.com on the home page, and you'll be able to get the link and the discount code. And then last, I am going to just mention the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation. They are doing wonderful work in a holistic mode. So if you're interested in exercise, diet, meditation, wonderful, wonderful route to go. Oops, and I forgot one more I have to add, the good old Memory Cafe directory. People are always asking about that, and that is provided by Calendar Cards, which has a memory system that helps people manage their memory and their day. So just go to memorycafedirectory.com and you can learn more about those support groups. Now, today we are going to be talking with Larry Carpenter. One of his colleagues was supposed to be here, Kate Ingalls Maloney, who is the director of Augustana's CARES Learning Lab for elder technology, but Kate was called away and can't be with us, and so Larry's going to take the show on himself here. So I really appreciate his time with us so much today. For those of you that are new to the Learning Lab, I think you're going to be fascinated by what they are doing. Larry assists the Learning Lab with its many devices and other, they just have a variety of technologies there, and his background is in software engineering as well as education, so it's really a nice, slick fit. And he generously gives his time to the nonprofit in the Twin Cities here in Minnesota to help broaden people's views and understanding of what is going on here in the Twin Cities in the Learning Lab itself. So he also, it looks like, works abroad for several developing companies as well. And welcome, Larry. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm excited. I'm excited to have you. You were out and did a presentation with Kate at the Roseville Alzheimer's and Dementia Community Action Team, where people were just fascinated, and you brought out robots, and I mean, you had all kinds of different interactive pieces. So I think before we get into some different types of technology, why don't we talk about, what is the mission of the Learning Lab?
Well, we are set up under a state grant from the Human Services to acquire devices and technologies that can enable elders to age in place. We're not exclusively focused on Alzheimer's, but that is a very big part of the aging in place mission. Okay,
wonderful. And do you know about how long you guys have been in existence?
We actually opened our doors. We had a grand opening just about a little over a year ago. In about, it was April 13th, if I recall right. But when Kate got me involved in this, we were bare walls. I mean, we were tripping over paint cans and ladders and HVAC stuff. So we were trying to acquire some of our devices and technologies while the lab was being put together.
Okay. That had to be interesting, to say the least.
It was fun. It was fun, yes.
Oh, gosh.
But now we have the lab set up. We have a couple of office spaces, but then we have a mock apartment so a lot of the devices and technologies can be put in place the way they would be in someone's residence. And then we have a larger space, which is a classroom, which is with a lot of devices set out, much like what it was in our Roseville presentation.
Okay. Well, that's nice that people can come in and really check this out and kind of touch and feel and get a better sense of what something does and even what size it is and right. How complicated is it, because I'm sure that's a big worry with people.
And we cater to groups like the presentation that you were at, but we also cater to individuals and a person with their care team.
Okay.
So we aren't exclusively group. We aren't exclusively care team. We are whoever needs to see these things. We are available.
Okay. Do you do educational programs for professionals to kind of give them an idea?
We do.
Because I think a lot of times it's hard for them to be able to get out and really get a feel for what's
we like to do those kind of things because that spreads our news farther afield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I was really impressed when you guys came to Roseville, and it was really fun to see some of these things I had only heard about prior. Can you tell us about your technologies? Are they always the same technologies, or are they changing out, and how do you pick them?
we're always seeking out new stuff, and a lot of it isn't really high tech stuff, but it goes all the way up to a robot. So we go from very sophisticated or simple grab bars, which can help you get into and out of a bathtub, but locks in 3 different positions as you're getting out of a bathtub. We're just keeping our eyes open, ears open for various kinds of things. Sometimes I'll see something just browsing around at Home Depot, and as I say, here's something we need for the lab. For example, one example of that is that I came across a little $10 item at Home Depot, which is a battery operated motion detect LED light that you can fasten to a baseboard or the edge of a stairway, so that if you have a dark stairway to go up to a bedroom, for example, you can put one of these lights 3 steps up and 3 steps down, so that as you're going up in the dark, all the lips of the stairs are lit.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
It's a fairly simple thing, but it's technology that will make a person safer in their home.
Yeah. Well, and I've heard, a lot of people, they love those lights that are motion censored, because
right.
So I know I've heard some people say that they put them right by, and again, our show, we're dealing with dementia, so they put them on the side of the bed that the person with dementia normally gets out of. And, it'll turn right on, and then they'll have one maybe in the hallway, and then they leave one on in the bathroom or have one in there, so that it lights the way, so that they don't they don't get lost or they can't see what they're doing, all of those typical little things that can make a huge difference and prevent a call. So, I like that you use, you mentioned that one, because it is something that's inexpensive. It's easy to use. You put it in place and it's pretty much there. It doesn't take a lot of thought. What other types of resources can people find to check out there?
Well, let me give you my little elevator speech.
Okay.
Bill and Susie are worried about Mom. Mom's been in her house for 30 years. Now, maybe just an age issue or maybe a memory issue. But they have no idea what might be useful to allow her to stay in place. So Bill, Susie, and Mom can come into our lab. We can sit down and we can chat. What are the issues? What are you worried about? What are you concerned about? And then we can take a walk around the lab and just look at various items, which you can touch, like you say. You can see, you can physically what size are they. If you look at them in the catalog, you really can't get a good look, a good feel for what you're dealing with. Yeah. So we can go around and Mom can see it, and Bill and Susie can see it. And at the end of the visit, hopefully they can pick out 3, 4, 5 items that if we get this and install them, we will feel much more comfortable.
Okay. So
and it's going to be different for everybody. So there's no one size fits all.
Yep. Well, and a lot's going to depend on how tech savvy they are, and their budgets and stuff. Not everyone's probably going to be able to buy a robot, and things.
Although the cost of that robot, if you look at it in a different way, it's not that expensive. Okay. We bought ours for the lab from Amazon.com for $2,000. Okay, now that's a big chunk of change, but if you look at it in a different way, for example, Kate Ingalls Maloney gives the example, and her father in his declining years was in Portland, Oregon. Kate's siblings were all in Minnesota, and they couldn't travel to see him very often. But if 4 siblings divide that $2,000 into 4 parts, it's $500 apiece. And if you compare that to the cost of an airline ticket to go visit Dad, it's actually pretty cheap, because now you can visit Dad every day. So is it expensive? Yes, it is. But when you look at it compared to other things, maybe it's a pretty good investment.
So let me ask you this, Larry. When you say now you can visit Dad every day, can you give an example? Can you Skype through it, and have a video call? Or?
Okay. it is. I like to think of the robot as Skype on steroids.
Okay.
Because now you saw it at Roseville, right?
Yep.
Okay. So now that the physical robot would be set up in mom or dad's living space.
Mm-hmm.
And mom or dad doesn't have to do anything to log on, to activate it, or whatever. It's completely controlled remotely by whoever is authorized to log on to that particular robot.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, one of his kids could fire it up, drive it over to dad or mom's chair, and look dad and mom in the face and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
So dad or mom is seeing one of their kids, and then they can go for a walk around the apartment or out into the hall, and chat as they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very it's much more personal, I think, than Skype.
Okay.
And the nice thing is that the senior on the other end, or the person that has the memory issues, doesn't have to know anything about how to drive it.
Uh-huh.
It's completely driven remotely.
Okay. Well, that's slick. Can you give now? Can it interact with the person it's caring for? I mean, can it carry on a conversation, or
Yes.
does it give prompts?
Yeah.
Or
No, you can look each other in the face, because the mom will be seeing the son who's talking to her on the screen on this robot, and vice
mm-hmm.
versa.
Mm-hmm.
The son sitting in Minnesota is going to see mom's face on his computer.
Okay.
And they can look at each other eye to eye and chat just as they would if they were in the same room.
Okay. So, in terms of, I guess I was thinking, like, can it give reminders for, let's go take your pill, or it's lunchtime, or that isn't built into the robot itself. But we have lots of other types of things which can do that task. We have different kind of med minders and various kinds of things in that realm that'll take that place. Okay. I was thinking that there might be, and this is just off the top of my head, kind of 4 different areas that people would come to you for. One would be just general safety within the house. In the world of dementia, it might have to do with wandering. Another one might be communication and, tracking things, and then just engagement as a whole. Trying to have somebody engage with somebody, so maybe they don't have to have someone there 24/7 or even, part-time help to be able to monitor different things. So let's talk about the safety first. What, we always hear about, stove fires, and what types of things, do you have something to help prevent accidents in the kitchen?
We have a stove shutoff device, which can be it needs to be professionally installed, but it can work with both gas and electric stoves. And in order to use the stove, you have to push a button to cook, and a green light comes on. And there's a preset time in there. It could be 20 minutes, it could be 15 minutes, it could be whatever you feel comfortable allowing the stove to be on unattended. And there's also a motion detector on it. So as long as there is motion near in the area of the stove, then this countdown timer doesn't start. But as soon as it is not detecting motion, then it counts down. And when it gets down into the last minute or two, it starts to beep. And when it gets down to 0, it shuts the stove off.
Okay. What about, is there anything for garbage disposals? I've heard of people just kind of unplugging the disposal and then plugging it back in, but are there safeguards with that?
That is something that we haven't looked into yet, and that's actually a good idea. I'm going to make a note.
Okay.
I'm just writing it down now. It's garbage disposal safety.
Yeah. The other thing, I know with my mom we ran into was the microwave was an issue for her,
Mm-hmm.
and she the microwave worked fine until she put a whole TV dinner in it, box and all,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
it almost
yeah.
started a fire. Is there anything for something like that? And I know some of these things they're probably not preventable. You have to do other things, or you
Right.
have to eat
Yeah,
differently,
yeah,
and
yeah. Now, that I think you'd have to address that issue external to the microwave.
mhm,
Make sure that there's only the kinds of foods available that can be put into the microwave.
mhm,
Um, but now you mentioned something else about keeping track of people. We're also
mhm,
working with a company kind of local to the Twin Cities that has a whole suite of different kinds of sensors.
mhm.
For example, they may have a bed sensor, and when someone gets into or out of the bed, a message would go to a central monitoring area.
Mhm.
And okay, mom gets up once or twice during the night to go to the bathroom, and as long as she's back in 10 minutes or in a fixed period of time, nothing happens.
Uh-huh.
But if mom should get up in the middle of the night and not come back for an hour or something like that, then some action could be taken, which such as calling someone in the care team
Mhm.
to come and check. So a lot of we can talk about a lot of different kinds of sensors that are looking for a normal pattern, and when that normal pattern is broken, then action is taken.
Mhm.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yep. Yep.
And you could also couple the bed sensor, for example. Someone gets up in the middle of the night, and now you might want to turn on a sensor on the front door,
Mhm.
so that if someone gets up in the middle of the night and goes to the front door, immediate action is taken.
Okay.
Someone is called immediately. So you can pair sensors in different ways.
Okay. Well, that's nice to know. And now
Mm-hmm.
to change these types of things, for the sensors, is that done like via a computer or an iPad or a phone? How does that happen,
Okay.
or is it a manual change?
No, on these, you would work with the company that provides and services these sensors, because all of the information goes to their kind of dashboard.
Uh-huh.
Another example, and if you want to make any changes, you would deal with them to add a sensor, take away a sensor, or change how the sensor gets responded to.
Mhm.
Another example is you talked about medication minders.
Yep.
We have a pill box that has a sensor on it when the pill box gets opened. Now, when the pill box is opened on time, nothing is done. But if the pill box is not opened, then a message would go into the dashboard, and then it would be sent out to the care team in the order in which they want to respond to it. But there's another issue sometimes. Sometimes they have arthritis and get the pill bottle out, but drop the pill.
Mhm.
So you don't know if they've actually taken the pills.
Yep.
You get a message that they opened the pill box, maybe took the pill out, but didn't get it to the mouth. You could accompany the sensor on the pill box with turning on a camera so that someone would watch the person actually take the pill.
Okay. Okay.
So there are lots of different
Yeah.
ways that you can link various kinds of sensors to ensure that the desired outcome is met.
Well, and that's interesting because in talking with people with dementia, they'll kind of chuckle. They'll say, "Yeah, my wife laid out my pills for me, and she's got notes all over the house, and they're on the counter, and she'll call and she'll say, now, go take your pills, and walk over to the counter and get a glass of water and take your pills," and they'll go, "Okay," and she thinks that they've done it, and she comes home and the pills are still laying on the counter because they can't follow all of those different steps in terms of direction,
Yeah.
but they want to comply, and they mean to comply, and they go, "Oh yes, let me go round and round on that one all the
Yeah,
time."
yeah.
And so
Yeah,
that would alleviate that.
There's these are all issues which kind of vary by the specific people, but the person with memory issues themselves plus the care team that's working with them, and I said it before. There's no one size fits all in this case. You'd have to what are the issues that you want to resolve, and what our focus on here is kind of aging in place. So if we can find some things which would avoid the next level of escalation of housing, which gets more expensive in terms of monetary things as well. So a lot of these things have monthly fees, but the monthly fees are generally much less than it would be to go into another level of care.
Okay. Well, and I think that's a good thing that you mentioned that, because it's easy to forget how all of this stuff works. And, you have to compare. If you don't do this, it's going to cost you that.
Right. Right.
Same with these little things with the sensor lights. They're a lot cheaper than someone taking a fall and breaking a hip.
Exactly. Yes.
Or worse, and not being able to come back home.
Yes.
Along with the pain and the discomfort, now they're uprooted, or even having to be uprooted for a period of time if they have to come home. As we age, typically we don't heal as fast, and we don't get bandaged back together just like we used to.
Yes, and very often, very often, it's that fall that leads to the ultimate decline. They may never really fully recover.
Exactly. Now, you had mentioned putting some locks on the door, and those actually being able to be timed out in terms of when you want them secure.
Well, no,
Did I hear that right?
I didn't say locks. I said sensors.
Sensors.
So that
okay.
that it senses when a door is opened or closed. And a door sensor, you might not worry about it if the person goes in and out during the normal course of the day. But if that door gets opened at an hour when they should not be going out, you might want you want to know about it.
Yep.
And also this it kind of boils down to, is wandering an issue? And in many cases, wandering is an issue. Another thing we have in that line are GPS trackers. Okay. And with GPS trackers, you can set up a perimeter that a person is free to move around in. But if they get out of that perimeter, then you want to know, because now they're in uncharted territory. And now there's also the issue that some people reject this. They don't want to be monitored. So if it's a wristband with a GPS in it, they might take it off and refuse to wear it. We also have an example of GPS-enabled inserts for a shoe.
Okay. And wasn't that made by a kid, a teenager or something? I thought I saw a teenager who was designing that, but maybe there's more than one.
It could well be. I don't know the specific origin of the ones that we have, and there's probably more than one source for these kinds of things too. But the tracking can be as kind of as sophisticated as you want it to be. You might, kind of the simplest thing might be just to set a perimeter, and you get notified if they exceed it. Other ones might have incorporated in it maybe a way to call or talk to the person, almost like a telephone. So there are different sophistications of these kinds of things. Okay. Another issue that you need to concern yourself with is, if you do have some of these notification things, who is going to get the message? And you have usually a call tree. Call number one. If number one doesn't answer, call number two, and so forth. Now, what do you want the ultimate to be if if your call tree is not there? What action is taken? So, and then who is on that call tree? Are they neighbors? Are they family members? Are they professionals, professional caregivers, or whatever? How close are they? if you're talking about wandering and someone gets out of a perimeter, how close are the people that are going to be called? Can they get there in 2 minutes or in 5 minutes, or are they an hour away?
Mm-hmm.
So these are issues that you have to think about in terms of how you're going to use some of these technologies.
Do you have like a checklist to kind of help people think of what would work or what not? You know, we don't have a checklist per se, but what we like to do is kind of sit down with the care team and ask them what their issues are. What are your concerns? Mm-hmm.
And then when you kind of get a list of what the concerns are, then you can start mapping out concerns versus device, concern versus technology.
Okay.
And then kind of build on that.
Okay.
So there isn't a master checklist if how it boils down.
Okay.
So we deal here with more than just memory issues. A lot of it is just natural aging as well, but memory is certainly a big concern with the stuff that we acquire for the lab.
Well, and I think part of it too is even if you're a person caring for somebody, basically anybody, you have to make sure that you're safe too.
Yes.
And you're probably running on a little less sleep, so these, nightlight things, they're helpful to everybody.
Yes, I have them in our house. Those, they're great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have them for the grandkids, but it's like
sure.
I also know that they're helpful to me, and so
yes.
I think we have to, look at these things open armed more, and
right.
you're not getting this just for this situation, but that this is
sure.
just more smart living. I would imagine like with the robot or anything that's mobile, people are going to have to maybe adjust their home in terms of flooring so that there's not, 10 million throw rugs around, which are tripping hazards.
Throw rugs are tripping hazards for people and robots.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so again, what's it's the end goal of what is good for everyone. How
sure.
about engagement? You had brought, I want to say it was a dog and a cat that were stuffed animals. Can you talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, they're actually more than stuffed animals. They're kind of miniature robots in their own right. They have sensors in them that they respond to petting, they respond to motion, and they have responses that are quite lifelike. I'm not going to say completely lifelike, but quite lifelike. That cat that you saw especially is it purrs. You can pet it and it will start to purr. If it's just sitting on a table or on a flat surface, it will roll over. It'll move around a little bit. If you put it too close to the edge, it'll fall on the floor. But there have been some documented cases of person that's taking kind of anxiety medication that's been able to reduce the dose because of an interaction with a robot pet. We also had an instance in one of the adult daycares that is part of Augustana Care, and there was a gentleman in there who got dropped off to it, but he just kind of closed up with it himself. He wasn't speaking. He just kind of was there, and they went on some kind of a trip where he encountered one of these robot cats, and he kind of clung on to it, and the attendees, the attendants, kind of saw how he reacted to that, and they got one for him in the adult daycare, and they got one for him at home, and he hung on to this thing and began to speak again.
Wow.
So this is not a scientific thing that it's going to work in every case. These are anecdotal things, but they are actual things that did take place, and so they can be very beneficial in terms of interacting with people and so forth. and they don't need to be cleaned up after or fed.
Yeah, that's nice. I had a friend whose dad had dementia, and they had gotten him one of those dogs. She said he loved that thing. It just sat on his lap, and he sat and petted it, and it was very comforting to him. And then, he would put it sometimes on a chair where then he could watch the dog, and the dog would enter into their conversation when they'd come to visit and say, "Now don't sit on the dog. The dog's right there." But he was caring for the dog. It gave him great pride and great pleasure in terms of when you're sitting there alone all the time, it gets old.
And it occupied a part of his mind that wasn't being used.
Exactly. And it was a very, my friend said it was just a very natural thing, and it wasn't. She said, I know some people might make fun of it, but it was, as a family member, it was very comforting to them to know that he felt comfortable and safe and loved, and that he was able to give love back. And really in a relationship, and that's so important for people, and if technology can help us with that, I think that's a great thing. Now, are there some that can engage and maybe like, does a robot can it play games with people or do entertaining type things?
No, the robot. Think of this robot. Think of Skype on steroids. Okay, it's a communication device, much like Skype, but higher quality video and but the ability to move around, and it has no appendages, so it can't pick up something and whatever. But there are some other things which can be engaging. For example, there's a software package called It's Never Too Late. And it comes in multiple versions. We have a version in the lab here which is kind of intended to be into a multi-unit residence, where several residents can have access to this in one at a time. But it has a big touch screen, so you can do it all by touch. It has a keyboard, a simple keyboard with big letters, that kind of stuff. But you don't really need to use it. You could just do everything by touch screen. But it has categories in there like travel. So you might have international travel or United States travel or national parks, and it'll have videos and slide sets that could take you through these kind of things. It could have sports. There are some games that you can play on this thing. It has some use in actual physical therapy, because they have some very large screens, and they have touch this ball on one corner of it, then touch the one on the lower left-hand corner, then touch the top and so forth. Kind of get you moving up and out of a chair and moving around a little bit. They also have a version which I think is out now. We don't have a copy of it yet, but it's going to be an individual, one user type of a thing. And back on the multi-user thing, each resident can have a portal in there, and their family can put pictures and videos up in that portal. And then for the individual thing, family members can again put videos and pictures up specific to that person, so that they can access it on a touch screen, access games, access spiritual things, access sports, travel, lots of different categories and huge content in all of those categories. And it's called It's Never Too Late. It's Never Too Late is the kind of the trade name for that software package.
Okay. And I've seen that used in commercial settings, like in memory care and things like that. But is that something people can actually get done in their own home on an individual basis, then you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I think the individuals thing is fairly new. And as I said, we don't have a copy of it yet, but there is a local rep for that company in the Twin Cities area. She was at the Meeting of the Minds conference. Was that early March? I think it was.
Yep.
She had a small booth there.
Okay.
So there is a local access for that.
Okay, and we get people listening all over the world, but they can just Google It's Never Too Late and and get the address there. Is there a favorite product or two that you really have just thought was really slick?
I personally like a lot of the Alexa or Google Home type things of the voice activation of devices. I think that's really slick, and to be able to say, okay, Google, play folk music or play classical music. Alexa, tell me what the weather is today. Alexa, tell me the news. Alexa, turn on the lights in the living room. I personally like that. That might not be relevant in many memory issues. But I personally like that. There's another thing that I wanted to bring up. It's a canary. We call it a canary, or the trade name is a canary. It's a video camera that can be put into maybe the person's premises, and the family or somebody can look in on them over the internet. Now, it might sound intrusive, but I think the care team themselves have to come up with what is intrusive and what is being caring. If can you look in on mom or dad and just see that everything's all right. So it's something like this is it's high tech stuff, but it's very simple to use. So I kind of like some of those things where you can monitor things remotely. There's lots of things. If medication is an issue, there are lots of different levels of medication minders and stuff. In some cases, you want to make sure that it's locked so that the person can only have access to the current dose. Sometimes the issue is that they tend to take too much medicine.
That they forgot and went back again. Yeah, that can happen.
And then things like the ubiquitous examples of call for help buttons. Those can be very useful, and many of them now incorporate fall detection. So that if someone falls, it'll automatically send a call for help message to the call tree or however it's set up to process the receipt of that.
Now, I know back in the day, there had to be like a strap around someone's chest in order to detect the fall protection. Is that still the case? Well,
there has to be a physical device, which and they like to have the physical device placed as close to the center of gravity of the person as possible. So it doesn't work very well. A fall detect button is not going to work very well on your wrist.
Okay.
Because your wrist moves too much. It needs to be the best location for it is kind of mid-chest.
Okay.
And it could be on a lanyard or it could be pinned to the a shirt or your blouse, or a combination thereof. A necklace and then a way to fasten it to the clothes so it's not swinging around and banging. Sometimes if it swings, you sit down at a table and it bangs at the table and sends an alarm.
Okay.
So there's a lot. There are things that you need to think about with a fall detector, but it is really nice to have that for a person, especially a person that's alone much of the time.
Okay.
There are also. Okay, go ahead.
I was just saying the one that I remember seeing was, oh gosh, it was years ago, but it was almost like a Velcro strap that went across, your chest,
Oh,
and had to be secured. And I know a lot of people had a difficult time because it wasn't comfortable.
Right.
And wanted that off.
I haven't seen that particular version of it. I did some volunteer work in installing medical alert devices, which included call for help buttons, and there were some issues with false alarms on the fall detect things too. But you can also just say, I'm testing the device. Don't do anything when they call, when they answer the call. But they in general they do a pretty good job. And then there's another issue is many of these call for help things only work in the living space. There are other versions which are out and about that can actually locate the person too, with either GPS technology or triangulation through cell phones, cell towers. And so if an emergency call is placed, they can find the location by the GPS signal or by the triangulation with cell phone towers.
Okay. Yeah, and I've heard different things with the GPS. They say some can't work in, concrete buildings, but those are close to the site and things. And so there's all different types that you have to look at. And what is wireless service, or is it being used by satellite? All of those. Yeah,
there's lots of those. There are lots of those issues, and again, back to my one size doesn't fit all. You have to look at the individual situation. Where are they living? How far do they go? Now, in many cases, a landline-based unit for calling for help is perfectly good because they may never go out unaccompanied. So calling for help within your living space is fine. You don't really need it if you're out and about because you're always with someone. So again, it's the situational requirements.
Yep. One thing I'd like to talk about too is toileting. Because sometimes people are worried about, has somebody gone to the bathroom? They worry about constipation or UTIs and things like that. What kind of sensors or monitoring is available for that?
Okay, we have the same company that has a lot of the other sensors, like the bed sensors, door sensors, and so forth, has a flush sensor. So it would keep track of how many times the toilet gets flushed.
Okay.
So and in that situation, what you're looking for is a daily routine. So the first few weeks, you might just kind of keep track of how often the toilet gets flushed, and then you look for deviations. Okay, all of a sudden, where it was 4 times a day, it's now 8 times a day. So they're going to the bathroom more often. Something has changed. So now it's time to look in on the person with the possible urinary tract infection or diarrhea or something like that. But a deviation from a pattern signals that something has changed. Let's find out what that change was.
Yep, exactly. Okay. Well, that makes sense. And I've seen ones too, and I think I've seen them actually like at Home Depot and Menards, where you can buy a lighted ring to help people aim when they're going to the bathroom too at night.
We have one of those in the lab actually, and it's motion it's motion sensitive, so it would turn on when it sees motion.
Okay. That's interesting. And I have had I've been told like sensors can be placed in the kitchen by the refrigerator, so they know if they're maybe if they've eaten something, if that's the thing, everything's going to be available in the fridge for lunch or for dinner, or placed by the pills, so that family can then look on an app or something and check and see if they've been in the area. Again, it's not a guarantee that it was done.
It's not a guarantee that it's done, but again, you want to look at a pattern, and and look for deviations from the pattern.
Yeah. Well, Larry, this has been really interesting. Is there anything particular that we haven't covered that you'd like our audience to know?
Well, there's probably a lot of things that we haven't covered, but I can't think of any specific things. It's just one thing is that you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the responses we often get when people come in, I had no idea. And so, and one of the values of a lab like we have is that you can come in and see what's out there without having to buy it or get too deep into purchasing this, and this. And if you don't know it's out there, you aren't even going to look for it.
Exactly.
So,
and you guys,
yeah.
You guys
Go
aren't
ahead.
paid salespeople for these items. These items
right.
rotate, is my understanding.
Yeah, we have we have no connection with companies that are selling this stuff.
Okay.
We are we say visit, look, try, and decide.
Okay, great. And could an individual like myself come without the person I'm caring for?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Walk-ins are welcome, but you take your chances. We might be out presenting somewhere.
Okay.
So
and what's
the best thing is to call ahead.
Okay.
And make an appointment, and then someone will be here to help you and take you through the lab.
Okay. And what's the best number to call? Because I had Kate's number, but I don't know. It sounds like she's going on vacation for a bit.
Okay. The number here is 612-843-6790, and I'll repeat that.
Okay.
612-843-6790. And Lynn Taylor is the lab coordinator, and he's generally here most of the time. Although he may be out at a presentation sometimes too, but that's a good number to call, and you can leave a message too, and someone will get back to you.
Okay, I was hoping to actually get out there prior to our interview, and I just wasn't able to. But maybe I'll be able to get out there this month or next. So that would be wonderful. And then I also want to thank you too, because you had mentioned you do group presentations. So you did one for our again the Roseville Alzheimer's and Dementia Community Action Team, which had a great turnout for that. And then I believe you're also going to be part of our Lab Tech fair that is coming up at Roseville Library on, I want to say it's the no, it's not the 23rd. Is it the 12th? And the heck is it? It's a Saturday. It's from like 11:30 to like 2 o'clock. The Tech fair at the Roseville Library. I'm
not sure if and I may not be involved in that one. I'm technically not an employee. I just kind of work on contract, kind of as available and as needed.
Okay.
And my one of my major activities is a sailboat on Lake Superior.
Oh, okay. Well, good for you.
Yeah, and that's it's getting up close to sailing season.
Yep. Well, wonderful. Well, I'll maybe I'll connect with you or have Lynn connect with either myself or Sarah on that tech fair, because I think they had you down, and if you're not there and if Kate's not there, we want to make sure if Lynn can be there or somebody else. So
Lynn would be the point of contact for that.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I've heard of it, so.
Okay.
Okay,
and that's fine. Well, again, I appreciate your time, and I want to thank our listeners for being with us. And again, you can go ahead and call their learning lab, Tech Learning Lab, at 612-843-6790. Or you can also go to the also I'm looking and I'm seeing I don't have a website for you guys, but you guys, I think it's under the Caring Learning Lab for Elder Technologies with Yeah, that's not listed here for whatever reason.
It's thelearninglab.org.
Thelearninglab.org. Okay. Well, I'm going to add that.
Thelearninglab.org.
Okay. Wonderful. Sounds good. Well, you take care, Larry. And again, thank you so much for your time today. It's really been a pleasure. And in wrapping up,
thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to give you a shout out to a couple other organizations you might have some interest in. Purple Table Reservations is just getting off the ground, but it's a really cool app that will show what restaurants are dementia friendly. And actually, they go way past dementia friendly. They're working with post-traumatic stress and autism and all different kinds of things. But you'd call in and ask for a Purple Table reservation, and they would seat you in a well-lit, quieter area with staff who is trained and menus that are a little less confusing to choose from. And then I also want to give out a shout to Care to Plan, which is a dementia resource directory that is under development and being beta tested. You can get a sneak peek at that on my website at alzheimersspeaks.com. Just click on the resource directory. And then last is the Roberto app. If anyone out there is interested in kind of playing some games just to check their brain function, that would be that's a wonderful, wonderful tool to be able to use. And I don't know if an app like that is something applicable for the Learning Lab to know about either, because there's a lot of apps coming up that can help people, monitor different things as well. So
we're always looking.
You're always looking. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sounds good. Well, thank you again, and we will talk with you all soon. Bye now.
Hi, this is Suzanne Newman, host of the Answers for Elders podcast and radio show. We are the North Star that guides you through the complicated journey of senior care with trusted experts in money, law, living solutions, and more. So join us on this station, your favorite podcast channel, or just go to AnswersForElders.com. Meet the Wayshowers who will help your journey go a lot easier.